34 years old, and what I discovered in my own home shattered everything I believed about the people I love. You know that feeling when your entire world is built on something solid, when you wake up every morning believing in the foundation beneath your feet? I had that. I had trust. I had faith. I had a family I would have died for without a second thought. And then I learned that everything, every single moment of joy, every sacrifice, every late night holding my son, every tear of happiness, all of it was built on a lie so cruel, so calculated, that even now, months later, I still wake up in the middle of the night struggling to breathe. The title of this video says it all. She said the baby was mine. For 3 years I believed her. For 3 years I changed diapers, sang lullabies, saved every penny for his future. I was a father. That's who I was. That's what defined me. One DNA test destroyed everything. But what I saw that night, what I discovered in the messages on her phone, I'll never forget it. The images are burned into my mind like a brand. Sometimes I close my eyes, and I'm right back there, standing in our bedroom, my hands shaking, my heart hammering so hard I thought it would break through my chest. Before I continue, I need to ask you something. If you're hearing the pain in my voice right now, if any part of this resonates with you, please, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Because right now, in this moment, I feel so alone. I need to know that someone out there understands, that someone else has felt this kind of betrayal, that I'm not crazy for feeling like my entire existence has been erased. Please, it helps me know that someone out there still believes in stories like this, that someone cares. Let me take you back to when everything was perfect, or at least when I thought it was. 3 years and 4 months ago, Natasha told me she was pregnant. We'd been together for 2 years at that point. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party, one of those warehouse events downtown with too loud music and not enough lighting. She was standing by the bar, laughing at something her friend said, and when she turned and our eyes met, I swear to God, it was like every cheesy romantic movie cliché you've ever heard. Time slowed down. The room got quieter. My heart did this stupid flip in my chest. I walked over. We talked for 4 hours straight. By the end of the night, I had her number and a date planned for the following weekend. Those first 2 years were magic. Real magic. The kind you think only exists in movies or in other people's lives. We traveled together. Nothing fancy, just road trips to the coast, camping in the mountains, exploring small towns we'd never heard of. We stayed up until 3 in the morning talking about everything and nothing. Our dreams, our fears, our pasts, our futures. She told me about her difficult childhood. Her mother who struggled with addiction, her father who left when she was 7, the foster homes, the feeling of never quite belonging anywhere. My heart broke for her. I wanted to give her everything she'd never had. Stability, love, a home that felt safe. And I thought I was doing that. God, I really thought I was. When she told me she was pregnant, I'll admit, I was terrified. We weren't married. We were both still figuring out our careers. I was working 60-hour weeks as an assistant project manager at a construction firm, barely making enough to cover rent and student loans. She was freelancing as a graphic designer, her income unpredictable at best. But terror quickly turned to excitement, to purpose, to this overwhelming sense of, this is it. This is what life is actually about. I proposed to her that same week. Nothing elaborate. I couldn't afford anything elaborate. I took her to the park where we'd had our 3rd date, got down on one knee with a modest ring I'd been secretly paying off for months, and I asked her to be my wife. She cried. She said yes. We held each other and talked about names, about nursery colors, about what kind of parents we wanted to be. We got married at City Hall 2 months later. Her best friend Sienna was there, and my brother Theo. Small, simple, perfect. And then came the pregnancy. Every appointment, I was there. Every ultrasound, I was holding her hand. When we found out it was a boy, I couldn't stop grinning for a week. A son. I was going to have a son. We picked the name together, Oliver. Oliver Vincent Chin. Her last name and mine, hyphenated, because she said it was important to her that he carry both of our histories. The day he was born. I can still feel it. That moment when they placed him in my arms for the first time. 7 pounds, 3 ounces, tiny fingers that wrapped around mine. Eyes that seemed to look right into my soul, even though I knew he couldn't really see me yet. I promised him everything in that moment. I promised him I would protect him, provide for him, love him unconditionally, be the father I'd always wanted to have. And I kept that promise. For 3 years, I kept that promise. I woke up at 2 in the morning to bottle feed him when Natasha was exhausted. I changed probably 1,000 diapers, maybe more. I spent my weekends at the park, pushing him on swings, teaching him to kick a soccer ball, reading him board books about trucks and animals and colors. Every paycheck, I put money into his college fund. Every bonus I got at work went toward making our apartment just a little nicer, just a little safer for him. I took on extra projects. I worked overtime. I did whatever it took. Because he was mine, my son, my boy, my whole world. Natasha and we had our struggles, sure. What couple doesn't? She could be distant sometimes. Moody. She'd get frustrated with me over small things. The way I loaded the dishwasher, the fact that I worked too much, my relationship with my mother, who she felt was too critical of her parenting choices. But I thought that was normal. Marriage is hard, right? Parenting is exhausting. We were both sleep-deprived, stressed about money, trying to figure out how to be adults while also raising a tiny human. We had good moments, too. Date nights when my mother watched Oliver. Lazy Sunday mornings, all 3 of us in bed together, Oliver between us, giggling at cartoons on the tablet. Family dinners where Natasha would cook her grandmother's recipes and tell Oliver stories about her childhood. The good parts, the parts worth remembering. I thought we were building something, a life, a family, a future. Our apartment was small but cozy. Oliver's room had walls painted sky blue with clouds I'd stenciled myself. Natasha had hung up the growth chart she'd designed, tracking every inch he grew. Photos covered the fridge. Oliver's first smile, first steps, first birthday with cake smeared all over his face. Every night I'd come home from work exhausted, and Oliver would run to the door shouting, "Daddy, Daddy," and wrap his little arms around my legs. That moment, every single day, made everything worth it. Every sacrifice, every late night, every stress. This was my life. This was my family. This was my purpose. But soon I started noticing small things that didn't make sense. Small things that, at first, I dismissed, explained away, rationalized. But small things that, looking back now, were screaming at me to wake up. Things were about to change, and nothing would ever be the same again. It started with her phone. Natasha had always been attached to her phone. We all are these days, right? But this was different. This was obsessive, protective, secretive. She started taking it with her everywhere. And I mean everywhere. To the bathroom, to the kitchen when she was cooking, to bed where she'd sleep with it under her pillow instead of on the nightstand like she used to. If I walked into the room, she'd flip it over, fast, like a reflex. If it buzzed while we were watching TV, she'd grab it immediately, check it, and then put it face down without saying a word. When I asked her about it, casually, not accusingly, she'd get defensive. "Why are you watching what I'm doing with my phone?" she'd snap. "I'm not watching. I just noticed you seem, I don't know, jumpy about it lately." "I'm not jumpy. You're being paranoid." Paranoid. That word. She used it a lot in those months. Then there were the late-night texts. I'd wake up at 2, 3 in the morning, and the glow of her phone screen would light up her face in the darkness. She'd be typing furiously, smiling sometimes, her fingers moving fast across the screen. "Who are you texting at 3 in the morning?" I asked once, my voice groggy with sleep. "Just Sienna. She's going through a breakup. She needs someone to talk to." "At 3 a.m.? She works late shifts, Vincent. She's a nurse. You know this." I did know this, so I let it go. But something about her tone, something about the way she wouldn't look at me. There were other things, too. She started going out more. Girls' nights that happened 2, 3 times a week. She'd come home late, smelling like cigarettes, even though she'd quit smoking 2 years ago. Her makeup would be smudged, her clothes disheveled. "How was your night?" I'd ask. "Fine. We just went to that new bar downtown. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed." No details, no stories, no laughter about funny things that happened, just walls. She stopped initiating any physical intimacy between us. Stopped completely. When I tried, she'd say she was tired, or stressed, or Oliver might wake up, or she just wasn't feeling it. Months went by. Months. "Is everything okay?" I asked her one night after another rejection. "Are we okay?" "Everything's fine. I'm just tired." Being a mom is exhausting. I know it is, but we haven't been close in a long time, Natasha. I miss you. She sighed. Like I was burdening her with my needs, like wanting to be close to my wife was an inconvenience. "Can we not do this right now? I have a headache." I backed off. I didn't want to be that husband, the one who pressures, the one who doesn't understand, the one who makes everything about himself. But inside, I was starting to crumble. And then, there was the way she'd react to certain phone calls. If her phone rang and she saw the caller ID, sometimes she'd let it go to voicemail. Other times, she'd answer but walk into another room, closing the door behind her. I could hear her voice through the walls, soft, almost tender, but I couldn't make out the words. "Who was that?" I'd ask when she came back. "Work stuff? At 8 p.m. on a Saturday? It's freelance, Vincent. Clients call whenever they want. That's how it works." I felt like I was going crazy. Everything had an explanation. Every behavior had a reason. But the explanations didn't quite fit. The reasons didn't quite add up. Oliver started asking questions, too. "Where's Mommy?" he'd ask some evenings when she wasn't home yet. "She's out with her friends, buddy. She'll be home soon." "Why does Mommy go away so much?" That question broke something in me, because I didn't have an answer. Not one that made sense. Not one that felt true. I tried to talk to her, really talk to her. "Natasha, I feel like you're pulling away from us, from me, from Oliver. What's going on?" She'd look at me with these cold eyes. Eyes that used to be warm. Eyes that used to see me as someone worth loving. "Nothing's going on. You're imagining things. You're being paranoid, and honestly, it's exhausting." There was that word again. Paranoid. Maybe I was. Maybe the stress of work, of trying to be a good father, of financial worries. Maybe it was all making me see things that weren't there. But then she started staying out overnight. The first time, she texted me at 11 p.m. "Sienna's having a crisis. I'm going to stay at her place tonight. Don't wait up." I called Sienna, got her voicemail, felt stupid for checking, felt like the paranoid husband she was accusing me of being. She came home the next morning, showered immediately, changed clothes, acted like nothing unusual had happened. It happened again 2 weeks later, then a week after that. "This is becoming a pattern," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "You're staying out overnight multiple times a month now. Sienna needs me." What am I supposed to do? Abandon my best friend when she's going through the worst time of her life? No, of course not. But can't she come here? Or can't you come home after talking to her? It's easier to just stay there. I don't want to wake you and Oliver coming in late. But she was willing to wake us by leaving. The logic didn't track. He stopped smiling around her. Oliver, I mean. My bright, happy boy would go quiet when she walked into the room. Distant. Like he could sense something I was trying so hard not to see. She stopped looking me in the eyes, and I didn't know why. Actually, that's not true. Deep down, in the part of my gut that knew the truth before my brain was ready to accept it, I did know why. I just didn't want to believe it. Until one night. One night, everything changed. I saw something that made my heart stop. It was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were my short days at work. I'd leave at 5 instead of 7 so I could have dinner with Oliver. I came home early, earlier than I'd told Natasha I would. The apartment was quiet when I walked in. Oliver was at my mother's place for the afternoon. She'd picked him up from daycare like she did every Tuesday. I heard water running, the shower. Natasha was home, which was unusual for this time of day. She was usually out running errands or working at the coffee shop she liked. Her phone was on the kitchen counter, face up, unlocked. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't. It was just there, right there. And it was unlocked, which never happened. She always kept it locked. A message notification popped up on the screen. From T. "Can't wait to see you tonight. I'm counting down the minutes." My heart started pounding. Loud. So loud I could hear it in my ears. T. Who the hell was T? Another message popped up. "Last night was incredible. You're incredible. I can't stop thinking about you." The world tilted. Actually tilted. I had to grab the counter to steady myself. I should have put the phone down. Should have respected her privacy. Should have waited for her to come out and asked her directly. But I didn't. My hands were shaking as I picked up the phone. I opened the message thread. And I saw months of messages. Hundreds of them. Thousands, maybe. Pictures. Videos. Messages so explicit, so intimate, so real. "I love you." T. "I love you too. I wish we didn't have to hide." Natasha. "Soon. We'll figure it out soon. We'll tell him together." T. Him. Me. They were talking about me. "He's so clueless. Sometimes I feel guilty, but then I remember how alive you make me feel." Natasha. The shower turned off. She was getting out. She'd be out here in minutes. I kept scrolling. My chest was tight. I couldn't breathe right. Couldn't think right. More messages. "What about Oliver?" T. What about him? Natasha. "Is he really Vincent's?" T. I stopped breathing. Actually stopped breathing. "I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Does it matter?" Natasha. "It matters to me. If we're going to be together, I need to know." T. "We can do a DNA test, but not yet." Not until I figure out how to leave him without losing everything. Natasha. I heard the bathroom door open, heard her footsteps. I put the phone down exactly where it was, backed away from it like it was a live bomb. She walked into the kitchen in her bathrobe, towel drying her hair. "Oh, you're home early. I didn't hear you come in." I couldn't speak. My throat was closed. My mind was screaming, but no sound would come out. "Vincent, are you okay? You look pale." "I'm fine," I managed to choke out. "Just tired. Long day." She looked at me for a long moment, studying me, trying to read me. Then she saw her phone on the counter. Her eyes darted to it, then back to me, then back to the phone. Were you using my phone?" Her voice had an edge to it now. "No, I just got home." She grabbed it quickly, checked it. The screen had locked by now. She couldn't tell if I'd seen anything. "Okay," she said slowly. "Are you sure you're all right?" "I'm sure. I'm going to lie down for a bit before I pick up Oliver." I walked past her into our bedroom, closed the door, sat on the edge of the bed, and I shook. My entire body shook. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I'd misunderstood. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe T was someone from her past. An ex she was just talking to. Maybe the messages were old. Maybe they meant something different than what they seemed to mean. Maybe Oliver was mine. Of course Oliver was mine. He had my eyes, my smile. Everyone said so. I was imagining things, being paranoid, reading into innocent conversations and making them sinister. That's what I told myself. That's what I desperately needed to believe. But the next day, I started paying closer attention, watching, noticing, and what I noticed destroyed me all over again, piece by piece. She'd leave her phone unlocked more often now, like she was testing me, baiting me, daring me to look. I did look. I'm not proud of it, but I looked. The messages continued. Every day, multiple times a day, plans to meet up, expressions of love, complaints about me, about how suffocating I was, how boring our life together had become, how she deserved more. He just works and comes home and plays with Oliver. That's it. That's all he is. There's no passion, no excitement. Natasha, you deserve someone who sees you, who really sees you. T, I know. I think I've found that someone. Natasha. I wanted to confront her. Every fiber of my being screamed to confront her. But I was terrified. Terrified of what it would mean. Terrified of losing Oliver. Terrified that if I was wrong, if I was overreacting, I'd destroy our marriage over a misunderstanding. I called my brother Theo. "Can we meet for coffee? I need to talk." We met at a diner downtown. I told him everything, showed him screenshots I'd taken of the messages. His face went white. "Vincent, man, I'm so sorry. This is bad. But maybe I'm misreading it. Maybe—" "No." He cut me off, firm. "No, you're not misreading it. This is exactly what it looks like." "But what do? You need to get a paternity test. For Oliver, you need to know for sure." "He's my son," I said, and my voice cracked. "He's my son, Theo. I don't need a test to know that." "Vincent, listen to me. If she's been lying about this, if there's even a chance that Oliver isn't yours, you need to know. Before you make any decisions about the marriage, before you do anything, you need to know the truth." The truth. The truth felt like a knife in my chest. "I can't," I whispered. "I can't do that to him. He's 3 years old. He calls me Daddy. I'm his father. Biology doesn't change that. It changes everything legally. If you're not his biological father, you might not have any rights. She could take him, and you'd never see him again." That thought, that possibility, it made me physically ill. I threw up in the diner bathroom, heaved until there was nothing left. Theo was waiting when I came out. You don't have to do anything today, but think about it. Really think about it. Because right now you're in denial, and denial won't protect you. It won't protect Oliver. I drove home in a daze. Natasha was on the couch scrolling through her phone. "Where were you?" she asked, barely looking up. "Coffee with Theo." Oliver ran up to me holding a drawing he'd made. A family. Him, me, and Natasha. All stick figures holding hands. "Daddy, look! I made us!" I picked him up, held him close, breathed in the scent of his hair. "It's perfect, buddy. You're such a good artist." Natasha was watching us. Something in her expression I couldn't quite read. "We need to talk," she said when I put Oliver down. My heart stopped. "About what?" "About us. About where this is going. I'm not happy, Vincent." "Neither am I," I said quietly. She looked surprised, like she'd expected me to fight, to try to fix things. "I think we need space. Time to figure out what we both want." "And Oliver?" "We'll figure that out." Figure that out, like he was a logistical problem, a scheduling conflict. "He's not a problem to figure out, Natasha. He's our son." "I know that," she snapped. "I'm just saying we need to think about what's best for him. Maybe it's not best for him to grow up in a house where his parents are miserable." She was right about that, but it felt like a manipulation, like she was setting up her exit strategy. "Is there someone else?" I asked. The words came out before I could stop them. She went very still. "Why would you ask that?" "Is there?" "No, of course not. But honestly, the fact that you'd even ask, it shows how little you trust me." And there it was. She turned it around on me. Made me the villain. Made me the problem. "You're right," I heard myself say. "I'm sorry. I'm stressed. About work. About money. About us." "I know you are. We both are. That's why I think space might help." But the next morning, the evidence was right in front of me, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. Her phone buzzed during breakfast. She was in the shower. Oliver was eating his cereal, watching cartoons. I looked at the phone. Another message from T. "Tonight, my place. I'll cook for you. Bring that wine you like." Something snapped inside me. Something that had been hanging by a thread finally broke. I needed to know. I needed to know who T was, what this relationship actually was, and most importantly, I needed to know about Oliver. I waited until Natasha left for one of her work meetings that afternoon, dropped Oliver off at my mother's, told her I had an emergency at the office, then I drove to a pharmacy across town, somewhere she'd never go, somewhere no one would recognize me. I bought a paternity test kit, the kind you can mail in, the kind that promises results in 3 to 5 business days. My hands shook so badly I could barely hold my credit card to pay. The pharmacist looked at me with sympathetic eyes. She'd probably seen this before, probably saw desperate men like me every week, buying truth in a little box. I drove to a park, sat in my car, stared at the box. This was it. This was the moment where I'd cross a line I could never uncross. If I did this test and Oliver was mine, I'd never be able to take back the doubt. Never be able to undo the fact that I'd questioned whether my son was really my son. If I did this test and Oliver wasn't mine, then everything I thought I knew about my life was a lie. I opened the box, read the instructions. It was simple, too simple. Swab the inside of both our cheeks, seal them in separate containers, mail them to the lab. Wait for your world to either stay intact or shatter completely. I went back to my mother's house. She was outside in the garden with Oliver. He was helping her water the tomato plants, holding the hose with both hands. giggling when the spray got too strong and soaked them both. "Daddy!" He dropped the hose and ran to me. I scooped him up, held him tight. "Having fun with Grandma?" "So much fun. We're growing food." "That's amazing, buddy." My mother looked at me, really looked at me. She could always tell when something was wrong. "Vincent, what's going on?" "Nothing, Mom. Everything's fine." "You're a terrible liar. You always have been." I set Oliver down. "Go play on the swing set, okay? I need to talk to Grandma for a minute." He ran off, happy and oblivious. "Talk to me," my mother said. "Not here, not now, but I might need your help with something, soon." She nodded, didn't push. "Whatever you need. You know that." I stayed for another hour, watched Oliver play, memorized every laugh, every smile, every moment of pure joy. Then I did something I'll regret for the rest of my life. "Hey, buddy, come here for a second. Open your mouth really big like a lion. Roar." He roared, his mouth wide open, showing all his little teeth. I quickly swabbed the inside of his cheek, making it seem like a game. "What was that, Daddy?" "Just making sure you don't have any sugar bugs in there from all that cereal this morning." He giggled, ran back to the swings. I swabbed my own cheek in the car, sealed both samples, addressed the envelope. My hands were shaking again. My vision was blurry. I realized I was crying. I dropped the envelope in a mailbox and immediately wanted to break into it. Wanted to take it back. Wanted to undo what I'd just done. But I couldn't. It was done. Now I had to wait 3 to 5 business days, 3 to 5 days of pretending everything was normal, of going to work, of coming home, of playing with Oliver, of sleeping next to Natasha while knowing what I knew. The first day was agony. I couldn't focus at work. My boss called me into his office. "Vincent, are you okay? You've been distracted lately. Is everything all right at home?" "Everything's fine, just some personal stuff. I'm handling it." "If you need time off." No, I need to work. Work is good. Work is normal." But work wasn't normal. Nothing was normal. I started following Natasha. I'm not proud of it. But I had to know. That Tuesday night, she told me she had a dinner meeting with a potential client. Would be home late. "What restaurant?" I asked casually. "That Italian place downtown, Giovanni's." "Sounds nice. Good luck with the client." She left at 7. I left at 7:15. I knew where she was really going. I'd seen the address in her messages to T. An apartment building across town. Nice building. Expensive. Not the kind of place a struggling freelance graphic designer's friend would live. I parked across the street. Waited. She arrived at 7:30, walked in like she'd been there 1,000 times, didn't buzz up, had her own key. My heart was hammering, my mouth was dry. An hour passed. 2 hours. I sat there in my car like a private investigator in a bad movie, hating myself, hating her, hating everything about this situation. At 10:15, I saw movement in a third-floor window. The curtain shifted. I saw 2 silhouettes, close together. Then the curtain closed. I drove home, sat in the driveway, couldn't make myself go inside. She came home at midnight. I pretended to be asleep. She slipped into bed beside me. I could smell cologne on her. Not mine, someone else's. I lay there in the dark. Every muscle in my body tense, pretending to sleep while my wife, lay next to me after being with another man. The next day, I decided I needed more than just suspicion. I needed proof, real proof. I bought a small recording device online, express shipping. It arrived the next day. That night I told Natasha I had a work dinner, would be home late. "Okay," she said. Barely looked up from her phone, probably already texting T, planning her evening with him. I drove around the block, parked 2 streets over, walked back to our apartment building, let myself in quietly. I'd hidden the recording device behind a photo frame in our bedroom. Voice activated. It would only record when someone was talking. I felt sick doing it, sick and dirty and desperate. But I had to know. I had to know everything. I left, went to a coffee shop, sat there for 3 hours nursing a single cup of coffee that went cold. Checked my phone obsessively, checked my email, waiting for the paternity test results that hadn't come yet. That night, I pressed record and waited. The paternity test results arrived on Thursday. I saw the envelope in our mailbox when I got home from work. Plain white envelope, lab name in the corner, nothing dramatic, nothing that looked like it contained the power to destroy a life. Oliver was at daycare, Natasha was out. Where else? At another meeting. I sat on the couch holding the envelope, staring at it. My hands were shaking so badly I couldn't open it. This was it. This was the moment where I'd either get my life back or lose it forever. I tore it open. My vision was blurry. I had to read the paragraph 3 times before the words made sense. Based on the genetic markers analyzed, the alleged father is excluded as the biological father of the child. The probability of paternity is 0%. 0%. 0. Oliver wasn't mine. My son, the boy I'd held when he was born, whose first words were Dada, who looked at me like I hung the moon and stars, wasn't mine. I made a sound. I don't know what kind of sound it was. Something animal, something broken. I folded over, literally folded in half. My chest was crushed. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't exist. Everything was a lie. Everything. Every moment of the past 3 years. Every diaper change, every bedtime story, every middle-of-the-night fever scare, every first... All of it built on a lie she'd told me. A lie she'd let me believe. A lie she'd watched me invest my entire soul into. I don't know how long I sat there. Could have been minutes. Could have been hours. Then I remembered the recording device. I went into the bedroom, retrieved it, plugged it into my laptop. There were 4 recordings from the night before, all time-stamped. The first one was Natasha on the phone, her voice, talking to someone. He has no idea. Honestly, I'm amazed at how clueless he's been. Yeah, I know. I should feel worse about it, but I don't. He's just so boring. Everything is Oliver this, Oliver that. Like his entire identity is being a father. No, I haven't said anything. I'm waiting for the right time. I don't know when that is. Soon. Maybe after the holidays. What about Oliver? What about him? I mean, I feel bad for the kid, but he's not really Vincent's anyway, so... Right, exactly. It's complicated. Of course I love you. You know I do. This has nothing to do with that. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow night. I love you too. I played it again, and again, and again. Her voice, so casual, so cold, talking about Oliver like he was a complication, like I was a fool. The second recording was different. It was her, but with someone else in the room. A man's voice. Are you sure he doesn't know? The man, T, had to be T. I'm positive. He's completely oblivious. He thinks I'm out with Sienna half the time. Natasha laughing. And he really thinks Oliver is his? Of course he does. I told him Oliver was his from the beginning. Why wouldn't he believe me? Because maybe he should have done a paternity test. Vincent, please. He's too trusting, too naive. He believed every word I said. Do you think he loves Oliver? Oh God, yes, obsessively. That's the only reason I haven't left yet. Oliver has a good life with Vincent around. He's stable. He provides. He's the kind of father every kid deserves. Just not the father you want? Exactly. She laughed. Actually laughed. I was young, I was stupid. I thought he'd be enough. But he's not. You are. What are we going to do about it? I'm working on a plan. I'll tell him I want a divorce. I'll get custody of Oliver, child support. I'll move in with you. We'll have the life we should have had from the beginning. And he'll just... what? Let you take Oliver? He won't have a choice. He's Oliver's legal father. He's on the birth certificate. He's been raising him. The courts will give me custody, especially since I'm the primary caregiver. He'll have visitation, he'll pay support, and we'll finally be free. I stopped the recording, ran to the bathroom, threw up. Heaved and heaved until there was nothing left but bile and rage. She'd planned this, all of it. She'd trapped me, used me, made me love a child that wasn't mine so she could control me, so she could take him away and make me pay for the privilege of seeing him on weekends. The third recording was worse. It was them having sex. In my bed. In the bed I shared with my wife. In the home I paid for. I couldn't listen to it. I skipped it, deleted it, never wanted to hear it again. The fourth recording was them after, talking quietly, intimately. Do you ever feel guilty? T. Sometimes, mostly about Oliver. He really loves Vincent. It's going to destroy him when he finds out. Finds out that you're leaving or that Oliver's not his? Both. Either. I don't know if I'll tell him about the paternity thing. It seems cruel. It is cruel. You should tell him. He deserves to know. Maybe, maybe not. I haven't decided yet. Part of me thinks it's kinder to let him keep believing Oliver is his. At least then he won't question everything. You mean it's easier for you? Maybe that too. They were talking about me like I was a problem, a complication, an obstacle in their way. I saved all the recordings, backed them up, sent them to my email, to Theo's email, to a cloud drive. Then I sat in my bedroom that now felt contaminated, violated, and I waited for her to come home. I froze. My whole world collapsed in a single frame. 3 years of my life, 3 years of memories, 3 years of love and sacrifice and hope, all built on lies. But what happened next was even worse. She came home at 11. I was sitting in the living room, all the lights off except one lamp. She saw me and stopped. "Vincent? What are you doing sitting in the dark?" I didn't answer, just looked at her. This person I thought I knew, this stranger wearing my wife's face. "Are you okay? You're scaring me." I laughed. Actually laughed. It sounded insane even to me. "I'm scaring you? That's rich." She set down her purse slowly. "What's going on?" I held up the envelope, the paternity test results. Her face went white, actually drained of color like someone had pulled a plug. "What is that?" "I think you know what it is." "Vincent, don't." My voice was shaking, raw. "Don't you dare lie to me anymore. Don't insult me any more than you already have." She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "I can explain." "Explain what?" "Explain that my son who I've raised for 3 years, isn't mine. Explain that you've been cheating on me. Explain that you've been planning to take him away from me and make me pay child support for a child that isn't even mine." "Explain which part, Natasha? Because I'd love to hear the explanation that makes any of this okay." Tears started running down her face. I felt nothing. No sympathy. No compassion. Nothing. "It's not what you think. I have recordings from last night. You and T, that's who you've been seeing, right? T? I have recordings of you laughing about how clueless I am, about how you were planning to leave, about how you don't even know if you'll tell me the truth about Oliver because it might be kinder to let me keep believing a lie. She collapsed onto the couch, put her face in her hands. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't give me back 3 years. Sorry doesn't change the fact that you let me love a child you knew wasn't mine, that you watched me bond with him, invest in him, build my entire life around him, knowing the whole time that you could take him away whenever you wanted. I never meant to hurt you. You never meant to. You've been lying to me for 3 years. You've been sleeping with someone else in our bed. You've been planning your exit strategy. Every single thing you've done has been calculated and deliberate. Don't tell me you never meant to hurt me when hurting me was exactly what you were doing. I was shouting now. Couldn't help it. 3 years of rage and pain and betrayal coming out all at once. Is T his father? Oliver's biological father? She nodded. Barely. Almost imperceptible. Say it. Out loud. I want to hear you say it. Yes, Trevor is Oliver's biological father. Trevor. Now the monster had a name. How long? What? How long have you been sleeping with him? She looked down. We dated before you and I met. When I got pregnant, I didn't know if it was his or yours. We'd broken up, but we hooked up a few times during the period when you and I were together. I was scared. I chose you because you were stable. Because I thought you'd be a good father. You chose me? Like I was a consolation prize? Like I was the safe backup plan? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? I thought I could make it work. I thought I could love you enough, that I could build a life with you. And Trevor? We reconnected 6 months ago. I ran into him at a coffee shop. We started talking. Old feelings came back. We started seeing each other again. In our home. In our bed. She flinched. Yes. Does he know? That Oliver is his son? Yes. And you were both planning to just... What? Take him from me? Rebuild your little family without telling me? It wasn't like that. We were going to tell you. Eventually. When? When was eventually? After you'd moved in with him? After you'd filed for custody? After you'd drained my bank account with child support? I don't know. I hadn't figured it all out yet. I stood up, paced. If I didn't move, I was going to break something. Or someone. Oliver loves you, she said quietly. That hasn't been a lie. His love for you is real. Don't. My voice broke. Don't you dare use him as a weapon right now. I'm not. I'm just saying. Biology doesn't matter. You're his father in every way that matters. Biology doesn't matter. Tell that to a judge when you file for custody. Tell that to a family court when you argue that I have no rights because I'm not his biological father. You know what your lawyer will say? He's not the father. He has no legal claim. And the worst part? You're right, I don't. Because you lied from the beginning. You put my name on that birth certificate knowing it was a lie. She was sobbing now. Please, please, Vincent. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But we can figure this out. We can go to counseling. We can... No. The word was final. No, we can't. This isn't something you fix with counseling. This isn't a rough patch. This is betrayal on a level I didn't even know was possible. What are you going to do? I'm going to talk to a lawyer. I'm going to figure out my rights. And I'm going to make sure that Trevor, your boyfriend, Oliver's actual father, steps up and takes responsibility. He wants to. He wants to be in Oliver's life. Great. Perfect. Then he can be. And you can have the life you wanted. The life you were planning behind my back. And you? What about you? Me. I'm going to figure out how to keep breathing, how to keep existing, How to not hate myself for being stupid enough to trust you. I walked toward the door. Where are you going? Anywhere but here. I can't look at you right now. Vincent, please, don't leave. We need to talk about Oliver, about how we're going to handle this with him. I turned back, looked at her. Really looked at her. You're going to tell him the truth. All of it. He's going to find out someday anyway. Better it comes from you than from me in a moment of anger. He's 3 years old. He won't understand. Then you'll explain it in a way he can understand. But I'm not going to be the one who lies to him. I've been lied to enough. I walked out, got in my car, drove. I ended up at Theo's apartment, banged on his door at midnight. He took one look at my face and let me in. It's all true, I said. Everything. Worse than I thought. Oliver's not mine. She's been planning to leave. She's been seeing his biological father. Theo just hugged me. I broke down completely, sobbed like a child in my brother's arms. What do? I asked when I could finally speak. How do I survive this? 1 day at a time. 1 hour at a time, and you get a lawyer, a good one, first thing tomorrow morning. I thought it was over, but I was wrong. The lawyer's name was Patricia Winters. Theo recommended her, said she was tough, fair, wouldn't let anyone push me around. I met with her 2 days after the confrontation. I'd been staying at Theo's, hadn't seen Oliver since everything exploded, hadn't been able to face him. Tell me everything, she said. Don't leave anything out. I told her, all of it. The affair, the paternity test, the recordings, the plan to take Oliver. She listened without interrupting, took notes. Her face was impassive, professional. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. Okay, here's where we stand. The good news is you have evidence. Recordings, paternity test results, proof of fraud. The bad news is you're not Oliver's biological father, which complicates things legally. Can I still see him? Can I fight for custody? You can petition for visitation rights based on psychological parentage. You've been his father, the only father he's known, for 3 years. Courts recognize that bond, especially when the child is young. But full custody? That's unlikely unless we can prove Natasha is unfit, which from what you've told me, we probably can't. She's not unfit. She loves him. She's a liar, a cheater, but she's not a bad mother. Then the best we can hope for is shared custody or liberal visitation. You'll have rights, but they'll be limited. And child support? That's tricky. In most jurisdictions, if you're listed on the birth certificate and you've been acting as the father, you're financially responsible regardless of biology. But given that you were defrauded, that she knowingly lied about paternity, we might be able to fight it. No guarantees, though. So I could end up paying child support for a child that's not mine while the actual biological father gets to play daddy without any financial responsibility? We'll do everything we can to prevent that. But yes, that's a possible outcome. I felt sick all over again. What about Trevor, the biological father? Can we force him to take financial responsibility? Absolutely. Once paternity is established through legal channels, he's on the hook. Natasha can't just pick and choose which father pays. If he's the biological father, he has obligations. Good. That's something at least. Vincent, I need you to prepare yourself emotionally. This is going to be ugly. Custody battles always are, but this one has an extra layer of complexity. You're going to have to see her, talk to her, negotiate. And through all of it, you need to remember that Oliver is the priority. Oliver is the only thing that matters. Good. Keep that in mind. Don't let your anger at Natasha cloud your judgment. Everything you do from here on out needs to be about what's best for that little boy. I hired her, Paid the retainer with money I'd been saving for Oliver's college fund. The irony wasn't lost on me. The next step was telling my family, my mother, my father. They deserved to know. I invited them to lunch, told them I had something important to discuss. My mother knew immediately something was catastrophically wrong. She reached across the table and grabbed my hand. "Vincent." "What happened?" I told them. Watched my mother's face crumble, watched my father's jaw clench. "That boy is your son," my mother said firmly. "I don't care what any test says. He's your son." "Mom, legally?" "I don't care about legally. Oliver is your son, and we're going to fight for him." My father was quieter, more practical. "What do you need from us? Money? A place to stay? Someone to watch Oliver?" "I don't know yet. Right now, I needed you to know. I couldn't carry this alone anymore." We talked for hours. They asked questions. I answered them. They offered support, advice, anger on my behalf. When I left, my mother hugged me tight. "You're going to get through this. We're all going to get through this, and Oliver is going to be okay because he has you." I wasn't sure I believed her, but I wanted to. God, I wanted to. The next challenge was seeing Oliver. I couldn't avoid it forever. He'd been asking for me. Natasha had texted me a dozen times saying he was confused, upset, wondering where Daddy went. We agreed to meet at a park. Neutral ground. Natasha would be there, but she'd keep her distance. When I saw him running across the playground toward me, shouting, "Daddy, Daddy!" something inside me broke all over again. I scooped him up, held him, breathed him in. "I missed you so much, buddy." "Where were you?" "Mommy said you were working, but you were gone for so many days." "I know. I'm sorry. I had some things I needed to take care of." "Are you back now?" "I'm back. I'll always come back for you. Always." We played on the swings, went down the slide, drew pictures in the sand, just like we always had. And the whole time, I was memorizing him. Every detail, every expression, every laugh, because I didn't know how much time I'd have. Didn't know what the courts would decide. Didn't know if I'd still be allowed to be his father when this was all over. Natasha watched from a bench nearby, didn't approach, didn't interfere. When it was time to go, Oliver hugged me tight. "I love you, Daddy. I love you too, buddy. More than anything in the whole world. Will I see you tomorrow?" "Not tomorrow, but soon, very soon." "Promise?" "Promise." He went back to Natasha, looked back at me once, waved. I waved back, waited until they were out of sight. Then I sat on that bench and cried, deep, wrenching sobs that scared away other park visitors. The legal proceedings started. Paperwork, court dates, mediation sessions. Natasha hired a lawyer, too. A good one. They argued I had no legal standing because I wasn't the biological father. Argued that while I could have supervised visitation, anything more would interfere with her parental rights. My lawyer fought back. Argued psychological parentage. Argued that Oliver only knew me as his father. Argued that disrupting that relationship would be harmful to his development. Trevor, the biological father, filed for paternity rights. Wanted joint custody with Natasha, wanted to be part of his son's life. I wanted to kill him. Literally kill him. This man who'd helped destroy my life, who'd slept with my wife, who'd known about Oliver and done nothing until it was convenient for him. But I couldn't. Couldn't act on rage. Had to think about Oliver. Had to be the adult. The judge ordered family counseling, all of us. Me, Natasha, Trevor, to work out an arrangement that serves the child's best interests. Sitting in that room with them was torture. Natasha couldn't look at me. Trevor had the decency to appear uncomfortable, at least. The therapist asked questions. How did we envision co-parenting? What would be best for Oliver? How could we put aside our personal issues for his sake? I don't remember most of what was said. I remember rage. Remember feeling like I was drowning. Remember wanting to flip the table and scream at both of them. But I didn't. I sat there, answered questions politely, acted like a rational adult, because that's what Oliver needed. And what Oliver needed was all that mattered anymore. The judge's ruling came 6 weeks later. I was granted visitation rights every other weekend, 2 weeks in the summer. Major holidays alternating years. Not custody, not even joint custody. Just visitation. Trevor was granted joint custody with Natasha. Legal father, despite being absent for the first 3 years of Oliver's life. I was ordered to pay child support. Reduced amount, given the circumstances, but still. I'd be paying for a child that wasn't biologically mine, while his actual father got to skip the first 3 years of financial responsibility. My lawyer said we could appeal, that we'd done well, all things considered. But I was gutted, every other weekend. That's what I got. That's what 3 years of being a father boiled down to. I went home, to Theo's place, because I couldn't afford the apartment anymore now that I was paying child support and lawyer fees, and I broke down completely. And just when I thought life was returning to normal, something unexpected happened. 6 months passed, 6 months of living in a new reality I never wanted. Every other weekend, I picked up Oliver. We'd spend 2 days together, parks, movies, building blocks, reading stories. And then I'd take him back. Watch him walk away with Natasha, watch the door close. Every single time felt like losing him all over again. But something started to shift. Slowly. Painfully slowly. I started therapy. Not couples therapy. Not co-parenting therapy. Just me. Sitting with a therapist named Dr. Raymond, trying to figure out how to be human again. You need to grieve, he told me in our 3rd session. You've lost something real. The life you thought you had, the family you believed in, those things are gone. You need to mourn them. How do I mourn something that was never real? It was real to you. That's what matters. Your love was real. Your investment was real. Your pain is real. The memories you have, they happened. They were your life, even if the foundation was built on lies. So I grieved. I let myself feel everything I'd been pushing down. Rage, betrayal, shame, guilt, loss. I was angry at Natasha. Still am. Probably always will be on some level. She stole 3 years from me. She let me build my entire identity around being Oliver's father, knowing she could rip it away whenever she wanted. But slowly, and I mean slowly over months, I also started to understand something. Oliver may not be my biological son, but I'm still his father, not legally, not genetically, but in every way that actually matters to a 3-year-old child, I'm his dad. I was there when he took his first steps. I taught him how to kick a ball. I read him bedtime stories. I kissed scraped knees. I chased away nightmares. I showed him what it means to be loved unconditionally. Biology didn't do that. I did. And no court ruling, no DNA test, no betrayal can take that away. Trevor, the biological father, he's trying. I'll give him that. He shows up to events, takes his custody time seriously. By all accounts, he's learning how to be a dad. Good. Oliver deserves that. Deserves to have people in his life who love him. But here's what I've learned. You can't skip to the good parts. You can't show up after 3 years and claim equal status with someone who was there from day one. Trevor is learning that. He's Oliver's father. Yes, but I'm Oliver's daddy. There's a difference. Oliver still runs to me first, still saves his biggest smiles for me, Still wants me to read the bedtime stories even when Trevor's there. That's not about biology. That's about time. Investment. Love. Natasha and I, we don't have a relationship anymore. We have a functional co-parenting arrangement, text messages about pickup times and doctor's appointments, stilted conversations at handoffs. That's it. She tried to apologize once. About 6 months in, said she regretted hurting me, regretted lying. I listened, didn't forgive, didn't engage beyond a nod. Some things don't get forgiven. Some betrayals are too deep. But for Oliver's sake, I'm civil, polite, professional. I've started rebuilding my life. Got a better job, one with better hours so I can maximize my time with Oliver. Moved into my own place, a small apartment, but it's mine. Oliver has his own room there, decorated exactly how he wants it. Superhero posters. Glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. His favorite stuffed dinosaur. I've started dating again. Cautiously, very cautiously. Trust doesn't come easy anymore. But I'm trying to believe that not everyone is like Natasha, that not every relationship is built on lies. Here's what I want you to understand if you're watching this. Trust your instincts. When something feels wrong, it probably is. When someone's behavior changes dramatically, pay attention. When you're being told you're paranoid for noticing obvious red flags, you're not paranoid. You're being gaslit. I ignored my instincts for months. Talked myself out of what I was seeing. Let her convince me I was imagining things. If I'd listened to my gut earlier, maybe I could have protected myself, protected Oliver, handled things differently. But I didn't. I wanted so badly to believe in the life I thought I had that I ignored every warning sign. Don't do that. Don't make the excuses I made. If someone loves you, truly loves you, they don't make you feel crazy for having concerns. They don't hide their phone. They don't gaslight you when you ask simple questions. And if you discover you've been betrayed, if you find out the family you thought you had was built on lies, know this. You will survive. You will. It won't feel like it at first. For months, I didn't think I'd make it. I thought the pain would literally kill me. But it didn't. I'm still here. Still breathing. Still fighting for my son. The grief comes in waves. Some days are fine. Some days I wake up and it hits me all over again. Everything I lost, everything that was stolen from me. But those waves get smaller, further apart. You learn to live with it. The pain becomes part of you, but it doesn't define you anymore. And you learn what really matters. Oliver matters. Making sure he grows up feeling loved and secure, that matters. My relationship with my family, my brother, my parents who stood by me, that matters. My own integrity, my own healing, that matters. Everything else, the anger, the bitterness, the need for revenge, that's just weight. And eventually you realize carrying it isn't worth it. You put it down, not for them, for you. If this story touches your heart, if you've been through something similar, or if you're going through it now, I want you to know, you're not alone. There are thousands of us, men who've been lied to about paternity, people who've been betrayed by partners they trusted completely, parents fighting for children who aren't biologically theirs, but who they love more than life itself. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not less of a man or woman for being devastated by this. You're human. And you're surviving something that would break most people. Keep going. Keep fighting. Keep loving that child if you have the chance. Keep rebuilding your life piece by piece. It gets better. I promise you, it gets better. And that's not the only secret I discovered that year. If this story touched your heart, I need to ask you for something. Please, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Because right now, I'm sitting here recording this, and I feel so alone. I need to know that someone out there hears me. Someone understands. Someone has been where I am and made it through. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is right now. Tell me your story if you want to share it. Tell me how you're surviving your own betrayal, your own loss, your own grief. We're all carrying something, some pain, some secret, some wound that nobody else can see. But when we share it, when we speak it out loud, it gets just a little bit lighter. I've shared mine with you. The worst thing that's ever happened to me. The moment my life split into before and after. And if it helps even one person feel less alone, if it gives even one person the courage to trust their instincts or leave a bad situation or fight for a child they love, then maybe it was worth it. Every like, every subscription, every comment. It tells me that my story matters, that my pain isn't meaningless, that Oliver's story, my story, our story, it means something. So please, take 2 seconds. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Comment. Tell me you hear me. Tell me I'm not alone in this. Because that's what we all need, isn't it? To know we're not alone. To know that someone else has walked through fire and came out the other side, scarred but standing. I'm standing. Barely some days. But I'm standing. And if you're going through something like this, if you're in the middle of your own nightmare, you'll stand too. I promise you will. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bearing witness to my story. Until next time, and yes, there will be a next time, because I have more to tell. Take care of yourselves. Trust your instincts. Love fiercely. Protect your peace. And remember, biology doesn't make a family. Love does.